everyone. Welcome to Pipes, Tobacco, and Whiskey. So, the last episode of the year, we have decided that we're going to share with you our thoughts on a whiskey.
Yes.
We haven't done an episode on a whiskey in quite a while, so I thought, hey, this would be a good time. Last episode of the year, let's go out with a bang, right? So, today we are going to share our thoughts about Sazerac's straight rye whiskey. Now, something you probably don't know, but Sazerac owns Buffalo Trace.
And so it's not the other way around.
That's right. Sazerac owns Buffalo Trace, and this is distilled at the Buffalo Trace distillery. So it's made there in Kentucky. Sazerac Rye is the namesake of the Sazerac Coffee House in New Orleans. And it's the location where Thomas Handy kind of perfected the Sazerac cocktail. And this bottle, known as the Baby Saz, is, like I said, made at the Buffalo Trace Distillery, along with a lot of other whiskeys that are sought after. Blanton's, some of the Sazerac 18-year-old, stuff like that. And this particular bottle doesn't have an age assessment, although I've seen in many places that they claim this is a 6-year-old rye. So it's not an old rye, it's a young rye, but 6 years old. It's got to be at least 4 years old by definition of calling it a rye. So it's got to be around there. Now the price on this one is less than $30. I got it for $28.99. I've seen it other places for $29.99, for $27.99, just depending on where you get it. I got this at Total Wine, and it cost $28.99, so pretty decent price for this. All right, so let's jump right into this and talk about this particular rye, because we haven't done a rye yet. And this one is 45% alcohol, 90 proof. And it is the Buffalo Trace mash bill, which is 51% rye on this one. So, and somewhere else, I think I've got, when we get into this, I've got that mash bill kind of written down here somewhere. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about the color first.
Well, it is definitely darker.
Yeah, it's a beautiful amber color.
Almost like tanned leather. Really, really dark, rich color.
Yeah, I think some people would categorize this as a medium amber. It's a beautiful color. It's got some legs on it too.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at right here. Just some long.
Wow. Yeah, it's quite viscous.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's kind of give a nose to it. See what you think about the nose.
Man, I don't know if it's the time of year or if it's this particular whiskey, but it definitely has that. I said it earlier, like when you heat bourbon or when you heat whiskey, like in a hot toddy or a hot buttered bourbon drink or something like that, just a very floral note. I mean, I've been dealing with some congestion issues over the last couple days, and it's got a smell that would clear your sinuses, but not in a bad way. Like it's just opening things up. But it's not, I don't know how to say it. It's like it's strong, but it's not forceful. I think that's a
lot of people are kind of intimidated by the nose of rye whiskeys.
Yeah.
Because of it's got a little more potency to it. You're getting some of those rye spice notes in there. But I get also a sweetness on this. You said floral. There's definitely a kind of an herbal.
Mm-hmm.
I get just a hint of like the spice I get is like a cinnamon ginger kind of thing. Maybe, maybe some clove, maybe some
or
orange.
anise.
Yeah.
Very, very holiday style scents coming from
orange
this.
zest in there.
Yeah, yeah.
You get definitely that vanilla or caramel kind of smell in there as well.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, it's very fruity. It's got like an orange, a cherry, a raisin kind of back hints to it.
I can't smell it without wanting to take a drink. I'm going to end up going through the bottle.
That's really a nice nose. It is got a little bit of an alcohol burn smell, nose to it.
And I think that's what it is. That's where I'm trying to say it's very potent, but it's not aggressively so. You know, like in some cask strength liquors and things like that, it's got the same force of presence, but without that, this is gonna burn on the first sip.
Yeah.
And then as you enjoy, it's got an inviting type of potency to it that makes you kind of go, okay, well, I think I could take a shot of this.
This has got a really nice nose to it. And it's kind of lingers a little. You can smell it in your nose still afterwards. Yeah, okay, you're going to the palate now. Let's see what the palate tells us.
So, it's interesting. It just doesn't hit like other rye whiskeys. I'm sorry.
That's one of the sweetest ryes.
Still, to me, tricks me into thinking this is a bourbon. This isn't a rye.
Well, I don't know.
There's pepper.
There's something there that tells me, okay, this is got a little bit more to it than just a corn mash bourbon.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But it's probably the sweet. Now, I like ryes, and the ryes that I drink are like Michter's. I drink Michter straight rye, Knob Creek straight rye, Elijah Craig's
pretty good.
Straight rye. And those have more of a peppery spice to it. Mm-hmm. Whereas this, you get that pepper, quick burst of it right up front, and a little bit of an alcohol burn, but then all those sweet characteristics come out.
Now, this is why it's interesting to me. I am not. If I had the choice between a corn mash liquor or a rye-based liquor, I'm going with the corn-based mash. I enjoy your bourbons, your whiskeys that are corn mash based, things like that. The rye is just too much of a presence where there's so much pepper and there's so much, how do I say this? It feels like there's more happening in my mouth than with a bourbon or with a corn whiskey or something like that. This tricks me because this doesn't. I get the pepper, which I enjoy
right at the beginning,
right there. Boom.
But then it kind of goes away.
And then it goes away. It's a nice, soft, smooth, sweet taste.
Yeah,
and it's just, gosh, this is why before we even started, I said I have to get one of these bottles in my liquor cabinet because,
well, for $30 and under,
why not?
Yeah, this is a really good rye. But let's go finish the palates part of it. We've talked a little bit about that pepper and alcohol burst at the beginning, and as it subdues, which is very quick, you start getting some of these balanced, sweet bubble gum, dried cherry, citrus kind of notes. Maybe some apricots in there. I definitely get that caramel or vanilla sweetness there. There's you get that char, that barrel char oak.
I get that. The sweet, the vanilla and the caramels are really, really shining this.
See, and that was my third sip, and that pepper burn is gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Well, and I let it sit there on my tongue for a minute just to see the burn kick in. Burn doesn't kick in until I've fully consumed what I've sipped.
Yeah.
And then the burn's there, and then it's gone.
Yeah, the spice content that I'm getting in this is kind of an allspice, cinnamon, anise kind of thing that's going on there. But it's quickly overcome by some of those other fruitier kind of things going on. It's really delicious.
This is, man.
That's really nice. So let's talk about the finish a little bit. As you're swallowing that and you kind of taste or feel what's going on after that, what are you getting?
Licorice. You know that black licorice? I think me and you're the only ones that eat that crap. But the that anise, just right there going down, and it just stays on the back of my tongue. Just that light.
It's a medium long kind of,
but
lasting.
Because you know how all those sweet flavors will hit the tip and the sides, and then just kind of sit there for a bit and then go away. But that anise or whatever it is,
still have it.
Black licorice, it's there and it's there to stay. But it's so enjoyable, and it almost feels, it's kind of funny. It almost feels medicinal, but very. I can't really explain it except black licorice makes you. It feels a little.
It's thick.
Yeah, it feels kind of a
that finish is thick. It really is. It stays with you. There's a little bit of that peppery rye spice going on with that, and a little bit of that heat. But those sweet notes take over at the end with that licorice still kind of staying in the front.
Just staying to play.
Yeah. I'm finding a little bit more of that, what I tasted in the palate, also happening in the finish. The little bit of the bubble gum, the little bit of the dry cherry.
Just a little.
There's a little bit of the citrus, but it's not near as strong as what it was in the palate. And you still got a little bit of that smoky charred oak in there as well.
This is a very interesting one. And I'm enjoying it.
The sweetness is like it's really strange because it's like you take caramel and mix it with black pepper, and that's the kind of sweet spice that you're getting. It's interesting as heck. Let me tell you why I like rye. You mentioned that you didn't drink rye that much because you prefer the corn mash.
Yeah, they don't tickle my fancy the same.
It depends on what I'm drinking it with. Now we're drinking this straight. We didn't even put a drop of water in this.
No.
But I also like to have ginger ale and whiskey. Mm-hmm. And ginger ale to me is so sweet that I want my bourbon to kind of counteract that sweetness, and that's why I use a rye
instead of
a bourbon, or a Canadian whiskey. I use a rye because it counteracts that sweetness and gives it a little more body, and this I think would be perfect for that.
See, and I drink ginger ale too, but I've never had. I don't know. I've never really mixed ginger ale with a lot of my drinks. So that's an interesting point because I've typically, if I actually go for a liquor, it's at the end of a long day and I'm just sipping it until I go to sleep.
Yeah.
And ryes are just, to me, the reason I don't agree with them so much is because there's a lot to them. And they're not painful, but it's just, I'm trying to wind down. And this is one of those playful drinks that I feel like, gosh, this could be the start of a good evening and the end of a long day. This is a nice, playful little drink. I am enjoying it.
And what are you smoking? What you're smoking, does it match with the whiskey you got?
It contrasts in a good way. I am smoking the Kringle Flake by Sutliff, this year's Kringle Flake. And I think that's... if I remember correctly... Yeah, here's one right here. Kringle Flake is primarily a vapor with a little bit of Cavendish in it. And... no. Virginias have been Cavendished. So, it is a vapor. Vapors will hit the tip of your tongues really hard if you puff them too much. And that's where I'm saying it contrasts well. They'll ignite the tip of my tongues to receive all those sweet little flavors. And then that pepperiness just sits with that licorice flavor that's just going down the rest of my throat. So when I'm fully enjoying the smoke, it's just making it richer. But at the same time, the bite from the vapor is really bringing out those sweet flavors in the beginning.
Mine is a totally opposite effect. I'm smoking McCraney's Highland Mixture. And this was McCraney's answer when McClellan went out of business to Frogmorton Cellar.
Yeah.
And it is delicious. I love it. It's the closest blend that I have found to Frogmorton Cellar. It really is good. But to me, this is acting more as a palate cleanser. It's kind of taking away all of that so that when I go back, I still have that same experience.
That's cool.
It doesn't dull.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't dull, the drink doesn't dull out at the end of the glass.
Yeah.
Each mouthful is the same as it was the first time.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. It's really good. All right, well, let's talk about the overall thing. You know, in my opinion, this is really a good whiskey, especially when you consider the retail price of the bottle. Mm-hmm. You know, compared to other less than $30 ryes.
Yeah.
This is right there. I mean, it's right there with them. You consider some, like, you know, some people will drink Old Forester, which is about $24. George Dickel, which is about $26. Jack Daniels, which is in the $30 range, $38. You know, Knob Creek, which is close to $40.
Yeah, the Jack Daniels, you have to actually get the Tennessee Rye version of it because their original Jack Daniels is a corn mash. It is not a rye mash.
Right. Well, you're looking for all of these we're talking about rye. Yeah. So it's really interesting that this is kind of overlooked a little bit.
I think so.
You know, because it's really, really delicious. It's thick. It's smooth. It's got plenty of spice, plenty of sweetness to balance that out.
Full of body.
Yeah, the nose starts off sweet and herbal, but you get some heat, some of that spice with it. You know, it's well balanced. The sweet flavors come in when you want it to. You know, it's a good sipping whiskey.
Yeah,
I really think so. It's a good sipping whiskey, and I haven't tried it with my ginger ale yet, but we'll give that a shot.
Yeah, that's it.
So you know it's going to be good with cocktails.
I mean, I'm surprised it's not talked about as much as it is, because this is a surprising bottle of liquor that I couldn't see why. I mean, for that price range, you can mix it in a cocktail and elevate anything in it, or sip it straight and still get the same enjoyment.
You know, especially if you're, you know, Bo York from the Country Squire Radio. He loves the cocktail Sazerac. Mm-hmm. And I'm betting that
he uses this.
Well, I don't know if he uses this. I think there's a different rye that he uses, but this one is, you know, well, it was developed for that cocktail.
Yep.
You know, they used that rye for that cocktail originally. So, you know, that's interesting to know. All right, well, what are you going to give it? What kind of a grade are you going to give this? Normally we give grades instead of shots for our whiskey evaluations. So, you know, what are you going to give it from A to F?
A to F. A is the highest.
Right, like in school.
Are we Doing plus and minuses?
You can.
A minus. A minus. Yeah, there's really not much I could say bad about it, aside from the fact that... No, there's really not much.
Yeah.
It's a solid drink. The only reason I don't want to give it an A+ is because I have a good feeling that there are some other things up there past this price range that I feel like deserve those
Michter's
spots.
is a wonderful rye, but it's $60 a bottle.
And that's what I was going to say, is I think there's others that are past this price range that deserve the A+ standard.
Yeah.
But this one, damn, is it close.
Yeah. All right, well, for my opinion, it's got good and bad points. The good points are that it's obviously it's got a history behind it. The price point is excellent. I mean, this is a beautiful bottle, so the packaging on this is just really interesting. It's got some sweetness that's really well balanced with the spiciness. It's got a thick, smooth finish. I really like that. The bad things about it is sometimes you can't find it. If you see it and you want to try it, you need to get it because there's no telling how long it'll be there. And at times, that sweetness can be a little bit overpowering, just a little bit.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think
not
if you're
characteristic of a real. So if you're a real rye drinker, this might not float your boat. But if
you're a bourbon drinker, you're gonna find this to be a surprising rye whiskey that you're gonna like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna enjoy this one.
And I'm gonna give it an A- as well.
So there we go.
An A-. That's the highest I think we've given
anything
a whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah, on our show. So for Sazerac's straight white rye whiskey, which is aged approximately 6 years, we're giving it an A-.
That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, this is nice.
This is a good showing, and I almost want to try it again. In the hotter months, I say hotter months, we had Christmas.
It's 80 degrees today
we
in
had
Texas.
Christmas at 80 degrees. I say in the hotter times of the year, I wonder how those anise and cinnamon flavors and vanillas and sugars
I
and
think
caramels,
that's when you go to using it as a mixer.
as a cocktail.
Yeah.
With a cold ginger ale.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll see. But I really am pleasantly surprised with this, so I'm glad I could sit down and have a glass.
Yeah, it's good. It's going to be in my rotation. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. We really do appreciate all your comments and all your suggestions. Don't forget,
make all your piping moments count.
Happy New Year to you. We'll see you next time. Enjoy your week. Happy smokes.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye-bye.